Let's go ahead and start here on the daily chart, or on the monthly chart. And so we can see here on the monthly, we just kind of extended the range to the upside. And so this is something that we talked about yesterday, how we kind of like, there was kind of like oh, right. um, yeah, so on the monthly, this is kind of something that we talked about as far as, um, not getting too caught up in what's happening, like being able to maintain perspective through time frames, basically. And we kind of had like that weak close on Friday, right? I think it got a lot of people bearish, but we had talked about how we didn't get a cessation of one time framing. Value was still higher, was still above that previous month's high. So on a monthly time frame, we're still in. There's still monthly breakout traders in the market here, right? Have to be careful. Um, and you can see the monthly still, you know, above the previous month's high. We've been monitoring that 4508 as an area that we'd like to see if there is a pullback for it to hold as support. But if it does trade below that 4498, there could be some more downside there. So be careful. On the weekly, right, we're kind of breaking out of a 4-week balance. The weekly made a new high, so we're still getting that continuation of one time framing higher, but the weekly's kind of pulled back here into the previous week's range. So the closest reference is this week's open, which was that 45.36 half. It was um, very close to the close of last week, right? The 45.36.75. So just one tick off. And that's really going to be kind of a key spot if there is a pullback that buyers are going to look to hold, if they're going to get some continuation to the upside. If not, that could be a rejection and a look above balance and fail, and we could start to pull back in here a little bit. Um, Remember that really that 45 or 44.98 being the real big level on the monthly. Switching over to the daily here, we've moved higher, right? We're in this bracket, this longer term bracket, with kind of equal lows here and equal highs here, broken above, and the market kind of sits in a 2/3 day balance. This will be kind of key to see if the market peaks above. On a 2-day look, if we're just looking at this as a 2-day balance here, it does kind of give us that look like it looked above balance, failed, looked below, failed, looked above, failed. And so we'll kind of see what happens here. The market's trading at about 49 right now, so it's trading not much lower than it closed, but it closed back inside this 2-week balance. And so if it really kind of fails, I think the I think it needs to firm up above the 54, if they want to get continued upside, right? Because that would bring some more buyers and probably bring some more uh, stops out of the market. As I assume there's still a bunch of people short this day here. So if we have this day's open here, 45.50, we assume this day's close, 40. Well, let's get that exact number here. This day's close was 45.36.75. So same as yesterday's open slash low, right? The low was 36 quarter, close was, or what was the open? Yeah, 36 half, 36 quarter. Yeah, so it's just one tick. So it's kind of a weak low when you look at it or when you think about it, very mechanical. Um, but it's tough to tell, like, because it's intraday here, so it's just more or less like a continued auction, like it auctioned down and then kind of auctioned up. So it doesn't really seem as weak as it looks, but I wouldn't be looking for it to, not really like a buyer right there. I'd rather buy it a little bit lower. Um but anyways, if it is going to get this continuation, I would assume that it wants to stay above here. I think that's where it brings out the most stops, and that's that previous open. Um Because as it comes back down in, you know how people when they're stuck short, when it even when it comes just a little bit closer to their stop, they get all hopeful and then they tend to hold on. Whereas if it just keeps holding up here, they're more likely to close out, I think. But I kind of assume some support somewhere in here, but I'm just not really gonna play it because I feel like it could go either way because I don't like this low. So I'm looking for it to firm up above the 54. Well, that's kind of a big box right there. We'll look more on the profile here, just to give a better view. So if we look on the profile, we can kind of see this ledge firming up with the 54 and yesterday's settle just one tick below there. So I'm really looking for it to kind of firm up above here and then start trading higher, and for volume to start showing up here, so we can see that continued move towards, what was our level? 89, I think. 45, 86, 75 is the level that I have marked up above as like a target, I guess. But it would have to firm up above that. Anything that doesn't, you build kind of this ledge, and it makes you kind of assume that maybe sellers are absorbing, and buyers aren't showing up enough to break it, and so it's going to have to trade lower. So there's a little bit of a volume ledge, 45 to 43, and I think that's a possibility there. Um, Especially if it comes down below that, comes back and holds. I think that's the possibility right there. That's probably for number one for your pullback area. But below that, it probably trades down to the low, and then I think even lower maybe down to this kind of weak spot down here to kind of really test this upper area, right? Because like if we like look at this a little bit bigger picture here, and so if we have like this balance here, let's say we've moved higher and we're going to create another balance higher, right? Let's say it looks like that, close to 4,600. That would make sense, right? To like give some of this, kind of do what this did. So that's kind of what we're looking for, right? We kind of got that, and if there is a deep pullback, that's why I'm saying there's that opportunity there. We get that balance here, and then an opportunity to take it up. That's a little bit bigger picture there. But as far as today goes off the gate, that's really kind of the only thing I'm looking for is maybe that Globex low on a break and re-accept, I guess you would call it, and then look for it to trade above. Only thing about that is it's tough is because what you'll do, I mean, and I don't even know if we'll get this much movement today. Let's say it comes down here to this 42, breaks a Globex low, comes back in, right? You get on with your full size. You're taking some off here, you're taking two off here. Well, if it just kind of pauses and then goes, well, you're only going to be able to ride one runner instead of being able to load three on here. So you'll have to look for kind of a entry if this thing gives you a little pullback, even if it's not as deep, to get in on that. Because the momentum is definitely to the upside still. So it's kind of hard to be a believer in buyer or sellers, excuse me, until they really kind of show you that there is, right? We're one time framing up on the daily, the weekly, the monthly. So like, you SC, good morning. Morning, Dope. Morning, Roach. Morning, Zoe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We got about 15 minutes left until the open. Overnight inventory is 100% net short, although it is a very narrow range. Our ATR lately, though, has been fairly low. Got 29 points here, 29 points here, 30 points here, 26 point here, 36 on a breakout, back to 24, 44 on a liquidation, 31. I mean, we could pretty much say our ATR is 30, let's say. So if we take 50, right, this is about 50, add 30, so we got 80 on the upside. It's like kind of a max level here. That's if we open and trade straight up. And then to the downside, we've got 20. It's kind of a max, right? And that's if we open and trade straight to the downside. And so kind of like this area here, 30-31, previous point of control, previous low, right? Previous good excess because we traded away from it. We know there's a buyer here probably. So if we can catch him a little bit lower, that we know that if we get below this low, it's going to bring out volume. We wait, we get filled there. That could be a nice opportunity. And like we said, like your stop, because you know that if it trades straight down to this area, most likely the range is only going to be 30 points on average, especially unless we get like some real increased volume. And so far, we're not having that. You could even have a 10-point stop there. You have to reduce some size, obviously. And you'd know you're kind of at like a max loss. Of course, you'd want to adjust it and say, I don't think you'd really be. Might just want to close it and try it again lower, but you'd kind of know that like the max area that it's going to go is pretty much down here. Unless we get like some news or some like serious liquidation. We do have um, Barr, Fed member Barr is on the, I don't know where he's speaking, but he's talking somewhere. So he might say something. I know that one of the Fed chairs is stepping down, so they're probably going to be quizzing them about that, being like, you know, what's going on? Why is he stepping down? Because like, why would you leave a position where basically? So either he did something shady, got caught, and he's getting like fired, but you know, it's a good old boy system, so they're like, listen, you're just gonna have to quit, Bill. Quitting or I also heard a thing that if you've had A&W root beer from 2016 till now, you're entitled to a settlement. I guess there's going to be a settlement um, against what's it called? Against A&W because they lied about putting. They said they put vanilla, but it was actually synthetic sugar or something like that. So any kind of A&W root beer. And Elizabeth Warren is trying to go after Elon right now too. For what for though? Something to do with Tesla and Twitter, like some like that. Morning, What are you guys thinking for today?
Wants to go higher because it kind of did it in the overnight, went up there twice. And if it can test the high, see if it wants to break out. But if not, I'm thinking it goes and tests the value area low of yesterday. And then if it breaks that, then kind of goes down. But from what I can see, based upon the way that the month has progressed, it just seems like it's building value in one area. And I was reading yesterday, sometimes when it stays in an area too long, it the opposite team gets more power because the team that's pulling it higher or lower, depending on which direction it has been going, loses the direction and then allows it to dip. So with the 3-day balance kind of that we're in, and it looks like we're going to open up in the range of the last 3 days. So it'd be like a 4-day balance open. We might test the lows to see if it's going to stay high, stay up. So I'm thinking as long as it stays above 32, 38, then we'll probably go up. But if it breaks the low of what would you call that? T2 or whatever y'all call that. I think it'll test the lows and maybe dip to 20 or back to, well, it would really have to have a big direction, but I think it will either. I'm looking for it to test the highs first because it did it twice last night.
I think
Right.
that run up yesterday was all short covering. I didn't, based on the volume and how it was behaving, it just didn't seem like it was actual active buying. And that was why when it got to a certain level, it just failed, and then all of a sudden it fell down. I don't remember how many handles it fell, but um, I'm not saying we're not going up. I definitely agree that it's poised to drop. I mean, I didn't expect it yesterday to run up, but then when it was running up and it was running up the way that it was running up, it just seemed like that was more short covering than anything else. So it made me believe that long-term investors were not necessarily in that play. That was just doing its, that was all short-term investors
Well,
covering.
one thing that Jim Dalton talked about in that last episode was he said that, and I can't remember. I mean, I could use the term that he says, and he calls it big banks and little banks, and I think he called it regional banks and something else. And when the regional banks are doing well, the smaller banks are not, and that's what's going on. So the correction would be the smaller banks taking a little bit more control, and if they do, then it usually pushes it down. And when
Market
the
down.
bigger banks, yeah, and when the bigger banks take control, the market rolls up. That was one of the things. I mean, he briefly touched on that, but they both can't do well. So what happens from what I understand with the banking, when smaller banks are not doing as good, they basically use bigger banks as a bank.
Right. They borrow from the big banks. Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of what's going on right now.
Right. Because they need to borrow money to make it cheap, but also to like to hold against their margin and stuff. That's why some of these banks are fucking going down. That puts pressure on the market, is what he's saying.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yep.
That doesn't mean necessarily that the pressure is going to be like right now today.
No, no, that's why he briefly just touched on that.
Yeah. And
But he
and
said that's definitely something to pay attention to because it will eventually have an effect. And he was more like just making it aware that they both can't do well together.
right. We had big bank earnings last week and they were good.
Right.
So, in theory, these smaller banks' earnings should be bad.
That would be the assessment that I took from it.
Yeah. We'll have to look out for those. Let me look at the earnings calendar. So we've got, see the date. Oh, today before the open, we had Bank of America, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, PNC, a bunch of smaller banks. I mean, Bank of America is pretty big. Charles Schwab, pretty big, but they're doing shitty. Morgan Stanley.
Did Charles Schwab buy E-Trade?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then after the close today, we've got Interactive Brokers, Pinnacle, United Community Bank, Fulton Financial. Some of our smaller banks report today after the close. Tomorrow after the close, you get Netflix and Tesla. Apple's looking weak to coming into the open. So is Microsoft. Nvidia.
Nvidia's above its gap, or still gapped up, but it's, I don't
Yeah.
know, it doesn't
Just kind
necessarily
of
look like
coming into the open week, yeah.
it's barely above its the previous day high, and it's in range of Friday. It's basically almost smack dab in the middle, just a little bit below center. It's above POC from Friday, but doesn't necessarily look all that strong. AMD is inside of its range from yesterday and from Friday, but above value area from yesterday. Apple's actually dropping back down into value area from yesterday. It's basically right at value area high right now, kind of bopping right there.
There's the open.
What did it open at? So I have to mark it.
The open was 50, 45, 50. Morning, Lincoln.
Oh
Some
shit.
buyers coming in there. 49.50.
Oh shit. I don't think it locked. unlocked. I don't think this one did. I may have
Back
to go
below that
back through it.
47 level. Remember that 47 level was a key level from yesterday. Big flush of volume on this 45.
Oh, did it. Oh, thank goodness. It did it right at time too. Okay, so it is locked. Had one peak count in one of the bots. It did not get in.
The tick opened up pretty green. We have our marker on the tick from yesterday at this 76773. It never went off yesterday, so that's where I'd like to see us break. I'd like to see us break that to show us that there's some serious buyers in the market, or that buyers are actually going to give this thing a try.
AMD made new low. NVIDIA made
At,
new low.
at what number, Brad?
See the tick,
Yeah.
76773. I just put an alert there, so like, if buyers are strong today, they should break that, and if they don't, I'll just know even if we do go up, that the buying's not super strong.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Getting another put count. It should get
Just
into a
about to
put.
say, watch below the 47 now because we had a lot of buyers come in above it.
Yeah,
Did not get in.
We're down below it now.
and the
Huh.
offers are trying to move down here too.
Bot is still not in. Getting put counts in one. Okay, well, got another one. Let's see if it gets in this time.
A lot of volume trying to come in down here.
Okay. If it's going to get in, it goes bots inputs. One of the bots is inputs. Second bot is still holding. Hasn't done anything. Bills were decent. Second bot got a count. We'll see if it gets in. 2, 4, 6. That's 4, so it should get in. Second bot is inputs. All bots are in.
Nasdaq's just puking so hard it makes me want to buy. Nice bounce here.
AMD made new low. NVIDIA is not as weak.
Everything's kind of catching a little bit of a bounce here. I just have one lot left from 46.5. That's why I was taking them off. Get this bullshit. A little bit of a seller above the open. And really, the market just being held down by weak tech here, so. But you wonder, because the Dow bounced hard. Like, the Dow's at its high, it's above the Globex high, like, about to break its previous day's high. Dow bounced, like, super hard. Nasdaq's coming lower here. Yes, is stuck middle range, but tick is staying strong. Microsoft's going lower here. Move my step up to 48.50. So if we get below that, then I'll just.
Bots are looking for very minimal amount of profit, except one. One is looking for a shit ton.
But that one's not Microsoft because Microsoft is fucking taking a dive. Down like almost $2.
There we go. NVIDIA's coming down a little farther. AMD's finally starting to show weakness. I'll get a put count here in a minute, though. I'm gonna bail. Oh, I got one in AMD. NVIDIA is still looking pretty weak, so I'm gonna let it ride.
Yeah, NQ's catching a bit. It's trying to, but it keeps getting smacked back down because Microsoft's down like over 1%. So is Apple. So it's either the tech is leading us down and everyone else is just remaining hopeful, or tech's gonna quit catching that offer. Market's gonna bounce. I mean, everything's green except tech, so you figure you add up all the percentages, they're better than 28. So even if tech is coming down,
The bot will bail.
there goes
In profit.
Nasdaq.
Yep. Bot is out. I closed it. Or it closed on its own, actually. Because I hit that. I had my threshold. Alright, well, it probably got out a little too soon. That's alright. Interesting. NASDAQ is definitely bouncing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I closed. I would have been about even right now. AMD is still coming down a little bit. Nvidia is not necessarily looking strong.
Yeah,
I may
Nvidia
have
is
been a
still
little
trading at its
premature.
low, but I mean, Apple bounced, Microsoft bounced a little bit. The Dow is super strong. The bank earnings must have been good this morning.
Okay. Well, bot is out. I'll let you guys know when it thinks it should have gotten out. Because I'm getting call counts in Nvidia and AMD. So I'm glad I sold. Holy cow. Well, another winning day for the bot. It's interesting. Everybody was in different count or different contracts. Or at least it says it was.
Just bounce there.
Oh, I closed early. Oh well. Profit's profit.
Got my long right here.
Oh
See if
wow,
it
AMD's
holds.
pushing further.
Microsoft made a new low. Put it Nvidia. These bids need to hold right here. Really don't want to see the market below 51.5 again. Even 53.75, I really don't want to see below. Nice. And let's see if we stay above the Globex high. A lot of times we don't break both Globex high and low, and we didn't break the Globex low, so we did break the Globex high.
NASDAQ is right there at 760. Just slightly above.
Yeah, looking ripe for the picking. Nice. Love a good NASDAQ trade. Works out right away. Dow's still pushing the high. NASDAQ's catching a bid. ES is at the high. Let's go.
Tech is still struggling.
Yeah, hasn't got up there to that level yet. Interesting too.
Okay, one of the bots would have closed.
We really want to see the market
Two of the
hold
bots would have
above like the
closed.
53.75 now. You said two of the bots would have closed?
Yep, 2 of the 4. The other ones are looking. AMD is looking pretty decent. It's basically right about break even. Nvidia's very much above water, but I don't know if it'll stay. And Nvidia's right at its value area high from yesterday. So we'll see. It did close the gap, obviously. So we'll see if it can break above its value area high. AMD is pretty far below its value area high, but it looks like it's starting to gain a little bit of strength. I wouldn't call it strong yet, but it's not fallen. Nvidia's got a decent bounce. It's above its value area high. Tech looks like it may have done a turnaround.
It's trying. Apple's trying to catch a bid. Microsoft's not helping out at all, though. I think we're going to 61.
Let's take a look at Microsoft. What does Microsoft say it's doing? So Microsoft is below its value area. It's only got P counts. It has 0 C counts. And Microsoft is one that you'll see a count in direction. It's far more volatile than the others. So it's not uncommon to get both counts based on what it's doing. And right now it's only got P counts, so it does not look strong. What does Apple have? Apple has no counts. Interesting.
Maybe 60? 61? And of course, the highs at like 75. Oh.
Nvidia's hitting its value area higher from the top now. Nvidia is dropping way below its value area high now. Still looking weak. AMD is actually showing more weakness. Coming back up on its low. Still, Microsoft has no C counts, only P counts so far, and still getting them. Apple just the quietest of them all. Still no counts at all. Yeah, Microsoft's leading the pack to the downside up here, it looks like. Oh, wow, it just made a new low. Nvidia's coming up on its low. Apple or AMD made a new low. Apple's coming up on its POC from yesterday. Still getting put counts in Microsoft and Nvidia. Both bots of Nvidia.
Looks like it failed to go above, huh? Just stopped out. Oh, maybe that was a fake out.
Microsoft is now pushing its low. Nvidia is right at its low, not quite there. Or close to its low, I should say, not right at. Still no counts in the Apple, which is just astonishing. You have to have a low volume. What does AMD say? Yeah. Moderate volume, not like low, but definitely not high. Microsoft's going to make a new low here in a second.
Oh, there we go.
It did. It made it made a new low. It's still barely in value or barely in range of yesterday though. It's just getting there to the point of breaking it if it pushes just a little bit lower. At a C count in Nvidia.
Did you get taken out, Brad? Your stop get hit? Hello? Can you hear me?
Microsoft got to bounce off its low.
Yo. Okay. Did you get taken out on that, Brad? Is he there?
He's moving stuff around on his screen, but
No.
I think his audio's off. AMD is still feeding the fishes with its low. Nvidia is coming back up on its low again. Or I'm sorry, Microsoft is coming back up on its low. It just broke a new low. Nvidia is close to its low. Still hasn't quite gotten there yet though. Microsoft's still trying to bounce after making a new low. AMD just is not holding it together. Just sitting there at its low. Microsoft got a decent bounce. Let's see if it holds.
I wish I'd have got in when I thought I was going to try and get in and where he got in, but it didn't come down to my stop and pick me up. So
Your entry.
I took a 3-spotter from 45.54. I got out at 56.57 and 57.50.
Nice.
Oh yeah, my time 8:56. So I
Microsoft
was
is still bouncing.
in a trade for 16 minutes.
Haven't gotten any more peak counts in this current candle. Microsoft. AMD got a bit of a bounce. Nvidia, however, is just holding near its low. Still no counts in the Apple. Yeah, still no counts in Apple.
My bad, I'm here.
AMD's
I'm just talking with Margaret.
He was just asking if you got stopped out or if you were still in. Microsoft is still bouncing.
All right. 61.5 is the level up here, I think. $75. Excuse me. One tick off. I'm sorry.
Looks like the ES recovered. That's nice. Nvidia definitely bounced.
Nasdaq bounced as well.
Oh, sure, shit. Yep. Finally caught it. Oh, Microsoft's up. Microsoft's coming up. Caught a bounce. Finally seeing a little bit of life in there.
I took those two that I added on off right here, 61. And then I've got just the one lot left. My stops moved up now, 57.25. I'd like to see us kind of stay above that 57 now. Because we broke that 61. The next level I have up 61 is 64, I guess. 65, 75 is the high. But the reason, and this is my reasoning for moving my stop so tight now, when I was relaxing it earlier, because I had such good trade location. Now that we're in a spot where if we don't get continuation, we could roll back, back to my initial entry, um, which is obviously not something that I want to see, but that's why I'm moving my stop so much tighter now. It's weird how Sierra charts calculate stuff sometimes. It says my average is from 54 quarter, but it's definitely lower than that.
Microsoft is dropping again. I wouldn't call it weak just yet, but it's definitely not holding in that same upward momentum. Now getting P counts in Microsoft again. Tech is definitely still struggling.
Or green starting to come on the board now, though. Video still looks like shit, though.
Yeah. Not quite at its low.
Yeah, like AMD, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia.
AMD just made a new low.
Yeah, AMD just got smoked.
That second bot
Rick's getting
would
smoked
be
too.
doing pretty decent right now. But it may get out if it. No, it wouldn't get out. It's right there. IT is still slightly coming up. Nvidia cut a, oh, that's AMD cut a decent bounce. Microsoft's trying to catch a bounce. Did a bounce, but not strong.
The Nasdaq didn't catch as strong of a bounce as the rest of the bunch here, and it's still lagging behind a little bit. Percentage-wise, though, the Nasdaq actually caught a bigger bounce than the ES, but like where it's at is NQ's below its Globex low. Yes, above its Globex high, so they're not really percentage basis. They're not matching, but that's because of the push and pull. Because the Dow is actually up like. So one thing to be alerted to, like I said, we have this mark on the tick above. It's at 767.73. We had said, like, even if we go up and we don't see this level broken, it kind of keys us in, like, maybe this buying is a little bit weak, just to be a little bit cautious, right? I'm not saying to get bearish, but I am saying to be cautious here because pausing, tempo's definitely slowed down. The tick didn't break a level on a breakout that we kind of expect it to break here. So it's just okay to be a little bit cautious here. There's a bunch of weak spots in the profile down here below, like 60 to 58. Offers up on 65 and front running the so high. Bless you.
Sorry, I thought I was muting myself, and evidently I was unmuting myself.
You're good.
Microsoft can't catch a break. Every time it gets a little bit of a bounce, it just falls right back into that lower area.
I want to short so bad right here. But it's just guess than anything. It's not really basing on anything. Yeah, I kind of do think that that's what happens, Thomas. Yeah. But who knows? There's definitely trapped shorts here, so if they don't let them out, this one could easily just keep powering higher. I'm not counting on that or anything. I'm not short. I'm in a long, actually. Yeah, last week's high was like 60, 50. Yeah. Yeah, if we hold above it, would be. Nasdaq's still bouncing here too. But it's impossible to get on board with a short. Because even if the Dow comes down and the Nasdaq goes up, that's still bullish. If the Dow pulls back here and the Nasdaq stays up, is I'll show you where. A peek at the daily chart here. So here's the ES daily. Here's the Nasdaq daily, right? Just kind of sitting in balance. So look at the Dow. Right, a lot more bullish here. Breaking above like a pretty key range. So it's high.
What the heck? I go away for a second and all of a sudden we peak out? Is that what happens?
Peek out,
Just
what do you
kidding. I
mean?
don't know. I just see it doing a little bit of retrace. I was just kidding.
But the Dow, right? Dow breaking out a lot more. So let's say even if the Dow does catch a little bit of a pullback down here, 100 points or so, because right now the Dow's up 200 points. So it catches a little bit of a pullback. Take a peek at the NASDAQ here. If the NASDAQ catches a little bit of a bid just back to its open, that would be, we're trading what, 67, back to the NASDAQ open is like 820. So 50, 60, 70 points there. So the Dow comes down 100, NASDAQ goes up 60. That's still bullish, really, because of where they're at on the day. So I still think that even if you are looking to get short, you're gonna need the Nasdaq to kind of confirm that, and that means the Nasdaq needs to hang out below the 17 or the 15,750 for the Nasdaq. That's the level that I have. That's a weak level for it, or like a level for it, basically. If it is gonna be weak, it's gonna be below that. Russia strikes Ukraine grain port. Damn, corn dropped 21% in the last 21 days. Like that's a lot. It was in like one day though.
Well, they ain't cutting corn over here. They're letting it rot out.
Why?
I don't know. Many fields are just they're not watering them, so they're not going to pick them.
They're not long enough?
No, the corn is brown. They're not watering it,
Oh,
so they're not going to pick it. They're not going to harvest it.
Are you sure they didn't already harvest it and that's just the stocks that are still standing?
Yeah, I'm 100% positive.
Oh, okay.
On the Dallas Tollway, or on the Dallas Parkway, I mean, you can see it when you're driving up to Salina.
must have a surplus then.
Must.
So definitely, some slowed tempo. The market's really kind of slowing down up here. You see the point of control shifting up. Like volume's coming in outside of value here. See if they can take the high. Some offers are stacking up like 67, 65, 60. Yeah, they're kind of all stacking up here above. Nasdaq's coming back down here.
Apple's coming back down to its POC from yesterday. And I've been riding just above it. It looks right now, looks like it's actually poised to drop a little bit below it. There it goes. Apple popped below its POC from yesterday.
A lot of selling coming in here, but market's not really getting a bunch of downticks yet. Yeah, add one on right here. 60 for like real tight stop and see if it can. Bid. Hmm. More shorts got stuck on that 61.5 again. There's C period. Getting a test of this weak area right away. Someone's trying to buy up the 60. You're getting down ticked. Back above that 60 half now. After 65, like if we add our 30-point ATR on our daily chart, let me see what's it. 41. So the low was 45 plus 41 is 86. What? Maybe we are going 86. Buyer showing up. See, ultimately, we'd like to break this high with the tick on board. Real strong breath, but I mean, just the NASDAQ really holding the market back here. And if you take a little peek at this, the market watch, just to get kind of like an idea of what's going on today, you can see the Dow, even though Apple and Microsoft are a big piece of the Dow, still performing really well, thanks in part to some of these. And then the NASDAQ, right, has some decent performing stocks, but overall made up of these top names, it's really hard for it to advance unless these top names are also on board. Then the ES just a combination of the two, so gets stuck in like kind of a purgatory until one gives up fighting the other. I was catching a bid. Nasdaq's trying to catch a bid, and ES is trying to catch a bid as well. Little rotation here as you see the sector breadth coming down, or the breadth in general coming down on the NYSE, but it's trying to advance. That would probably mean Russell's trying to catch something. Yeah, the Russell's up 2%. Real strong. It's like almost back to its view up here. Look at that size trading right here. Just in comparison, right? I know we're not having big size today, but just look at the size right here in comparison. So we're getting some people trying to step up to bid this thing over. It takes some initiative to buy people's stops, right? So there's probably a lot of people short against yesterday's high, just because we got, you know, it came up, tapped, came down. It was a good excess marker. It didn't really get tested again. So as it gets tested again, you kind of assume that people have their stops right at that high and they're shorting up here as well. So you're what you're looking for here is to see if any of the selling is getting downticked, and it's not. So there it goes. We finally hit our 65 target for the add there. So if you added like around that 60, 61, like we were talking about, good to take some off here. And then the next level I have up is and it's so long ago. The next level I'm up is 86. Really, that's it. So
86 is the next level.
yeah, that's what I have at least. We hit the 65. That was my only other level up. The 86 is just coming from like the ATR and then level that I marked the other day. Yeah, and like Thomas said, if we hold above it, quite bullish look.
I have any levels?
All right, let's see the next levels I have.
Yeah,
I have a level
87.
at 75 quarter. Yeah, 86 and 93. Those are the three.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So 75 really is just because of it's a round number basically. Like an easy 45, 75, right? Just rolls right
Where's
off the
your stop
tongue.
at right now? You're hiding it behind that B high. So like 63.
My stop's at 57 still. I haven't moved it up. Like my initial position was was that 5 lots long, 46, 50, 45, 75, 48 quarter, 48, 50, 49, 50, 47, 75.
Nice.
So all of those within those like 3 points right there. And then took a took some off at 55. Um Had it again at what's this at? I added again at 60, but I thought I added more on 55 on the second way up.
10 minutes till noon
I was
candle.
positive I did. Oh, just one lot, that's why. But yeah, I just have one lot left.
I waited until, well, obviously until the bot was out, and then until Apple started to show a little bit of, and it basically bounced off of its POC, and that was when I got in.
Oh, I took a NASDAQ trade. That's why. I was like, I know I did another trade. Like, I don't know where it's at. I was like freaking out for a second. Because I was like
I know
looking
I
at the
have points.
chart. I was like looking at my order fills and I'm like, what the fuck? I know I took another trade somewhere.
You're
But
like, I know I have some points somewhere. Where are they?
yeah, it was a NASDAQ trade. That's why I was like, the fuck? You can see the tech sector is starting to try to go positive here. It was down negative 0.35, now just down 0.15. Still not a super powerful tick I'd like to see, but the Nasdaq is back at its VWAP here. It just dropped like 10 handles. Dow's super strong though. Breaking out into uncharted
Apple's right in
territory.
its value area high. Kind of got to its value area high, broke through, and then doing a little quick peek below again.
$77.50 is your number, Looker. We have 8 minutes until this period opens up. Maybe we'll open up a single pair here. Alright, so we'll catch you later. It's a little battle here at the 66. The prior day high.
Five minutes on the candle. If they play this right, the VPOC jumps.
What's that?
I said if they play this right, the VPOC jumps up pretty decently. Right now, I think the VPOC is at what? 1 even? 61 even? 61
Yeah,
quarter?
some. Yeah, either 61. Yeah, somewhere right there, 61. Really, the play here is like maybe some calls on Nvidia. So let me look like. Real 5.
Hey, what do you show the high tick at? Can't see it.
747.
Why is
A high?
mine?
The high of the tick.
Oh, the high of the tick. Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying the high of the.
Oh, there it is. 747. Yeah, I see it. Oops. Well, that ain't right.
It was some tests. Looks like sellers are getting stuck up here, really.
New candle 1 minute.
We're gonna open up with some single prints, and that'll be the key. Is do the single prints close? Is there an offer that comes below 62? At least 62? So an offer below 62, and if they can't get that offer below 62, then back to the upside.
$30 seconds. We're gonna try and add to the top of this thing before they put on a new candle.
Yeah, back.
68.5 is where they're headed. Five seconds. New candle. And there it goes. It popped it. What is that noise like?
Oh, I'll
Is that
shut
the
it.
TV?
No, that's them talking in the other room.
So
Oh,
with the initial auction to the upside and the open of this D period, it makes a pullback buyable from like 64, 65 area. If they don't pull back at all, then you probably end up just trading back towards the 75, which is kind of their target. Not really the tick that I'd like to see when we're breaking the high, to be honest.
yeah, it looks a little weak. Negative 38. Oh, it just popped above zero.
That was super strong. Same with the Russell too.
They finally got to 70. I was wondering if they were going to make it there. They were really struggling to get there.
Did you keep your long on, Brad?
Yeah, I have one lot left.
I wonder if
I added to it at 60 and then took the add off at 65 and
Oh
then
damn!
just
I almost did the same thing. I mean, I didn't
nice.
stay in, but I got out at 6:45:60. Got back in at 61, and took it up to 64:75, and then got out.
Nice.
I wonder if we start to see short covering at like 72, 74 range.
Save this. Time to sit in my hands.
Are you
Why are you
still in?
feeling anxious?
No, no, yeah, I am. I'm feeling like I want to short it from here, but I don't want to do it. I just want to. I'm doing really well right now, so I want to just like chill and watch.
They gotta push. They gotta push through that 72. Oh, and 73. They're stacking them. You think those are stops or are those just people trying to stack orders for the downside?
Probably stops. How that lined up. It looks like they lined up every point. Probably stop. There's still, I mean, there's still size regardless if they are stops. So like, let's say we trade back up above 75 and then come back down below this 69 area. You'd want to see buyers start just like hitting those single prints. That would let you know
Got
that
it.
they're closing on small wins. The bids seem to keep stepping up as well, so they're not even waiting for it to come back to 65. They seem to just be buying through this year.
What is it at 71.5? Microsoft doing? Enough flattening out, but still holding. Apple's still pushing higher. Tech sector is actually getting closer to zero. Or break even, I should say.
Yeah.
Better than it was before.